Hey everybody. Okay, so it is Workday Wednesday, and we've been doing a lot of storage and organization type videos, and I wanted to do something a little different this week because I didn't want to get in a rut. And I wanted to do pen prep. Okay, so paint pen prep. You're thinking, what kind of prep do you need for paint pens? Well, if you have seen me use these, in fact, I used them in yesterday's art journal prompt for Tuesday. I love them. I don't know why I just stopped there. I ran out of words. Uh, they have these big old tips on them, and I have my junk journal here. They have these big old tips on them, and you can either mark with them or you can stamp with them. And I've used this one on something fuzzy, and I've got fuzz all over it. Anyway, they make a great, quick black and white border. And if you saw it yesterday, the black was empty, and you can see, oh, the black flows so much better than the white. That's because it is full, and I just refilled it. And as I was doing that, I got out my new ones that I ordered, which were the extra fine tip, 7.7 millimeter extra fine tip. If you could see that. I love paint pens, and finding the right paint pen can be tough, especially in a really fine point. That flows well, writes well. I love this. Okay, so this is this. It's just been filled. I did have to play around with my recipe a little bit. When I fill these, I do 1/3 paint to 1/3 acrylic glazing liquid to 1/3 water. And that gives you this absolutely perfect flow line fabulousness. And I'll do a line over here so you can see. I mean, it just steady flows. Let me make sure that's in camera. It is, just barely. Okay, so I love this this paint pen and this mixture. So I filled some of these. Oh, that's wet. It's wet paint. Shocking when you just wrote it. Let's go to a different page. I'm trying to find ones that have some color on them so you can see them. Okay. So I filled this one the exact same way. They have a little mixing ball in them. So before you use them, you want to mix them up, especially the ones that I've put mixtures in. So this one I filled just like I filled those, with 1/3 to 1/3 to 1/3. And it writes well, but as it dries, it kind of goes gray instead of black. And I think that is the glazing cutting my color a little bit, especially on black. So on the next three, I played with them. This one I did half red, a quarter glaze, and a quarter, oh, you're not going to be able to see it there, but you can see it here, and a quarter water. And the glaze, again, it looks pink, and it is supposed to be red, Christmas red. So I think it's the glaze cutting my color. So when this one comes down a little bit, I'll fill it up with more paint. Same thing with the black. I just paint into them for a while. When I did the blue, I think, which one did I do next? The blue or the green? I did the blue next. When I did the blue, I did half paint to 1 milliliter, in my little thing, 1 milliliter of water. And it's a little thick, but it writes really well. Of course, it's looking purple on that pink, but you can see here it's blue. Let me make some dots. You can see it's blue. So this one works really well. When I went to do this one, I started off by just putting green in it. Just the green Deco Art Crafters acrylic paint. I just put that in it. But it was too thick to go through the nib. And that's basically what I was trying to see if I really needed to cut it. And I did. But on this one, I put 1.5 milliliters of water. Just a hair more water. And... oh, I didn't shake this one. Hang on. I still have my cold. It's much better. I just kind of have a little bit of the drainage. And, yeah, but I'm much better. The more you fool with these, the better they get, though. So you can see it's a true green still, because all that's in it is some water. But it does write really well, and it's a good thin line. The more you play with them, the better they write, which I think is kind of true of any paint pen. So I really like them. I was going to show you how you fill them, but I'm not actually going to fill one, and here's why. They take forever to fill with these little bitty barrels. The paint goes in super slow because it's such a small opening. You have to unscrew the nib lid, and then there is a valve right here. And so you have to pull the valve out. Okay, and then you put your paint and water in here. And I'll start one. Let me put something down because I'm a little bit of a mess. Just enough for you to see how slow it is getting the paint in here. Because you may go, something's wrong, my paint's not going in. I want you to know it does take a while because it's so small. You pretty much just have to get it going in there. And then don't let it touch the top up here, because I probably need to zoom in for this. Hang on. Let me hold my hands here and let me zoom in. Oop, too far. Alright, that's as far as it's going to zoom. Alright. You pretty much have to not get paint on one side of the mouth, because if you get paint on both sides, then it will form an air bubble and it'll stop your flow, and you got to pop it and clean it up and all of that. So you've got to keep just a slow, steady drip. And if you can see, I mean, it's only to there flowing down. I mean, there's very little paint in here yet. Very little paint in here yet. So it takes a while to fill one of these. Actually, since I'm doing this, I'm just going to go in and fill it, and you can see how long it takes. But they're totally worth it. You could mix your own paint colors. Now, if you use a different brand of paint, I would experiment a little bit. If you use a full acrylic rather than a liquid acrylic, you're going to have to put some glazing medium in it for sure to thin it. You may have with one brand or another, you may have to put in more water, less water. So what I would do is just start playing with them and then experiment. The first one that I did, I didn't fill it all the way so that I could basically keep up with how much I was putting, ratio-wise, how much paint to water to glaze. And that's what I would recommend doing. But if you're using Deco Art craft paint, and this is that paint that came in the sets of 12 for $10 back several months ago. I think they do it about once a year. So if you got that set, that is the exact paint I'm using. Let me find my mark. Get my air out. 1.5 milliliters of water. Put my nib back. I mean my valve back. Now my nib back. Let's get it lined up. There it went. Alright, my lid. And then basically you just shake. Shake it. Shake, shake, shake. Alright, while I'm shaking, I'll zoom back out. Alright, so shake, shake, shake. And that's it. You do want to shake it for a while before you use it. Because if you don't, since the water's lighter than thinner than the paint, even if you put the water in first, it just pushes the water to the top. So you do have to actually mix the two before you can use it. This is not going to be good mixed, but let me just find a page. If you're wondering what this is that I'm writing in, this is my cleanup journal. Sometimes I do practice sketches or something in here over it, but if I clean a stencil, I do it in here. If I want to do a practice sketch, I do it in here. If I want to play with a stencil, I do it in here. This is my try it here first, clean stuff up, use up the last of my paint spot. So yeah, there's nothing in here. That's why it looks so bad. It gets really abused, but that's its purpose in life, is to get abused. So I don't feel bad about it. All right, hopefully we've done it. And then, you know what? I may have to zoom back in again. I didn't think about the fact that I want you to see how the nib feels. All right. It's kind of blurry because it's so zoomed in. But you can see the nib is still white, all right? When you push down, see how fast that filled? That might be a little thin, but I don't mind it because it means it writes really well. And that's what I want. I want one that writes really well, really fine. I can do all kinds of detail work and so I like these. I think they're really good. I don't think you could see any of that either. I think it was in this. Whoops, sorry about the arm. Let's see if I can get this where you can see it. All right, let me zoom back out. And let me see. Let's see, we either have too much light or not enough light. All right, what if I come up halfway? If I come up halfway, can you see it? Not really. All right, well, take my word for it. And you're like, that's not why I do this. Maybe I turn off that one light. Is that better? Okay, that might be a little better with one light off. Is that better? I don't know. See, it's also because it is a fine nib. It's really faint. I can't get that to come in focus. All right, well, I don't know if any of this was in focus. Hopefully some of it was. Hope you at least could see how to fill the pen. I will attach pictures of writing with the pen to the end so you can see. All right, bye, y'all. All right, since it was a little iffy on what you could and couldn't see for paint wise, what I decided I would do is I would make basically a chart And this is the, what do they call this huge tip? I don't say it has a name. I'm just going to call it the wide tip. Yeah, it's wide. All right, and I will take a picture of this and I'll post it at the end of the video so you can see each one and how it does. And of course, white on white doesn't really show up. Sorry, that white lid, I probably need to clean it. This is the 0.7 millimeter. See, this is what happens when I'm doing water measurements and width measurements. 0.7 millimeter black with glazing. We'll just call it glazing. All right. 0.7 millimeter red with glazing. And you can see how fine they write when I take the picture. And then you can also see how the colors aren't quite true on the ones with no glazing. And how the colors are much better on these that have no glazing. And I just basically want to do this on camera so you could know these really are the ones that I'm using. Let's come back here. 0.7 millimeter green. No glazing. And actually, I didn't load this one either. So let's, ooh. Who do I have left? Just orange. Okay, so you can see, and these are just picking them up and writing with them, and they make a really fine line. Of course, if you prep them, they write better than if you don't. And most of these I didn't even prep, I just wrote. There's one blue line unprepped, one blue line right beside it prepped. So anyway, I will take a picture of this and I'll post it at the end as a still shot so you can see it. But I think these are going to work out really great for me, especially now that I've got my mixture figured out. The black and the red, since how they're really more gray and pink, as I use out of them, I will just add pure paint back in to raise my mixture level. And that should fix the problem. And then, of course, when I refill them next time, I know not to put glazing in them. Okay, so hopefully by the time I get all this put together, you can see it all and get it all. And yeah, bye, y'all.